Hello and welcome to day 4, part 1 of Advent of Code 2023, the Java solution. If you don't know what Advent of Code is, it's basically like an Advent calendar. So if you ever, as a kid, got some kind of box and you opened one little portion of it each day all the way up until Christmas, and there was like a little chocolate in there or something, that's basically an Advent calendar. But instead, for Advent of Code, there's just a problem that comes out every single day leading up to Christmas. So therefore we get Advent of Code. And so really you don't need any kind of CS background. As long as you just have some problem solving skills like this says right here, you should be good to go. But anyway, without further ado, let's get right into it. So far, I would say part 1 of day 4 is the easiest challenge up to this point. So in this part of the story, we've met some elf who has a bunch of scratch-off cards, basically, and we need to count how many winning numbers there are that we've scratched off and then put that to some power of 2. And so let's actually look at this. On the left side, we have our winning numbers. So any number on the right side that is found over in the left, that is counted as a winning number that you scratched off. So 83, 86, 17, and 48 are all numbers that you scratched off and won. The first match counts as 1 point, and any match after that gets multiplied by 2 of whatever you currently have. So in card 1, we got 4 matches. So our first match is 1 point, and then we multiply that by 2, and we get 2. We have to multiply it by 2 again, and we get 4, and then we multiply that again one more time for our 4th match, and the answer is 8. And the goal is to read through all of the cards and get and just sum up all of the points that we have. And so in this example right here, cards 1 through 6, you end up with 13 points. And so I've already gotten the answer over here, but let's go ahead and code out the solution. Here is the outline of what our scratch cards Java file is going to look like. So up in the main method, we're going to have that sum that we're eventually going to print out, and then a file which represents all the lines in the file here. So this calls read file. If you've made it to day 4, I assume you know how to read in all the lines of the file at this point, but just for one last time, I created an array list here, pass in a buffered reader that I'm going to call to update line, and until line is equal to null, we keep on updating line and adding it into the file. The real meat of this solution is actually going to come from the class scratch card. So this is just an outline of what a scratch card looks like in our input.txt file. And really it only contains the relevant information. So we'll have a hash set of integers called winning numbers. And then we'll also have another hash set of integers called scratched numbers. And so the winning numbers is obviously on the left. So it's those numbers that if we match them, they win. And then if it's a scratch number, those are the ones that we scratched off, and those are potential winners. Next, we need to create our constructor for a scratch card. So just public scratch card, and that's going to take in a string line actually. So typically you think of a constructor just taking in the fields that it's going to be initialized with, but instead our fields are technically embedded inside of a string line that's in some other file. So we're just going to end up parsing this line and figuring out where everything is and how to put it into either the winning numbers or the scratch numbers. So we'll go ahead and initialize our winning numbers by saying this.winning numbers is equal to a new hash set. And then same thing goes for these scratch numbers. We're just preparing these two fields to have numbers inserted into them. The first thing we need to do is split up the components. As we can see, we have this whole entire card section, and then finally the winning numbers, and then the potential winning numbers. So over here, let's go ahead and try to split up just and separate the card part from the actual numbers. So we'll do a string array called components equal to line.split by the colon and space. So this is going to specifically grab right after that digit of whatever game it is and split it off to be the first index. To the right of that is going to be all the numbers. And it's just good habit to go ahead and trim off all the white space. As we can see in this input.txt, we're going to be dealing with a lot of white space here. As you can see with a single digit, there is some white space. There is some blank space before the digit, and so that can cause a potential issue. So every string that we're going going to deal with here is going to be trimmed. So go ahead and just call trim whenever you can when working with a singular string in the solution. Now we're going to split up the winning numbers and the scratched numbers into a 2-size array. So here we're going to create a string array called winning and scratched nums. And that's going to be equal to the components at 1, and we're going to trim this, then split it with that pipe symbol with spaces on either side. And so what we have to do here is do a space and then do 2 backslashes and then the pipe symbol and then another space to go ahead and complete this. We have to, since Java is treating this like a regular expression, we have to go ahead and put a backspace or a backslash on the backslash to escape it. And then that is technically saying, okay, we are escaping this pipe symbol that we have right here. So the winning and scratched nums array is just a 2-index array. On the left is the winning string, on the right are all these scratched strings, but we still need to go ahead and split up all of those two. Now we're just going to extract all of the winning numbers. So string winning strs is equal to the winning and scratched nums at 0 because the winning numbers are to the left. And we're going to trim this just to make sure everything's all right, and then split off of a space since all winning numbers are separated by a space. From here, we can go ahead and iterate through all of these winning strings. So for string winning str, that is in winning strings, we can say if that winning string just happens to be empty because we've split off spaces, and so some indices could be empty. So we can say if it's empty, then we'll just continue. We'll go ahead and skip over this. We don't care about it. Otherwise, if it's not empty, that means that it is some sort of number, and we can add that into a list. And so we can say winning numbers dot add integer.parseInt the winning string that we're currently looking at. And just remember, winning numbers is a set. We can only put unique values in there. If we try to put in a duplicate value, it's just not going to go in there, and actually the add method would return false. But we don't care. We're just going to go ahead and put it in there because it's going to take care of the hard work for us. Right here is the solution for all the resulting nums or the scratched nums. So we go ahead and take the right index that we had over there, and then we iterate through all of those numbers on the right, the ones that we scratched off. If it happens to be empty, we just continue through the loop. Otherwise, we're going to add to the scratched numbers the scratched number that we have found. To cap off the scratch card class, we're also going to write a method that's just going to get all of the points that this scratch card has. It'll be a public method that returns an integer, and it's going to be called getPoints. And all we need to do is just keep track of however many matches we have. So at this point, it would be 0 before we even start. Then we're just going to iterate over all the scratched numbers that we have. For int scratched num, that is in scratched numbers, if winning numbers dot contains the scratched number, then we must have a match. So we can just say matches plus plus. Else we don't increment matches or anything. And then at the end, we just say return the integer casted version of math.pow, and we're going to put 2 to whatever matches we found minus 1, because we have to account for that the first match is just equal to 1 point. So we'll just say matches minus 1, and that completes our getPoints method. The last thing we need to do is implement the main method. The first thing we need to do is go ahead and get all of the scratch cards that we have that are located in the file. So an array list of scratch cards will be created called scratch cards, and that'll be equal to a new array list. And then we're going to iterate through all of the lines in the file. So for string line in file, we'll say scratch cards dot add a new scratch card given the string line that we're looking at. Once we finish this for loop, we can go ahead and just do, now we just need to finish the main method. So what we're going to do here is iterate through all of the lines in the file. So for string line that is in the file, we'll create a new scratch card. So scratch card sc is equal to scratch card or a new scratch card given the line that we're looking at. Now this allows us to go ahead and get the point value. So we can just say sum plus equal the scratch card dot get points. And then here at the end, we just print out the sum. So let's go ahead and run this, and we get 26,914, which is the answer to part 1 of day 4. And that will do it for part 1 solution. Thank you for watching. If you learned something, consider hitting the like button and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.